I mean, you guys are the first IPO that has like the prospectus has dropped this year, and has so it must be a huge feat because it's and I love the fact that it's, as I said, first IPO, but the ticker is, I'm assuming it's gonna be 1GS because I see 1GS everywhere. I think that's brilliant because no, I think even I saw a tweet about it. I think Randy posted it where it's going to, because it's numerically one as the first thing, it's going to be at the top of the junior market. So I think that's brilliant. Kudos to you guys for that.
I think
That's that SEO at work, right?
And it's something that we cuss about, me and Shani cuss about because she kept writing OGS in our contracts. And I was like, stop writing OGS in our contracts.
I love that.
I see our letters. So one grade student, I see OGS, but I've changed now. Not 1GS.
Yeah, but that was intentional, And so
Yeah.
the reality is like we did think that through. We have been saying 1GS internally, and as we because maybe 12 months ago we were just like, we have to decide, are we 1GS or OGS?
Right.
And I think we went back and forth, and we were like, we're 1GS, and so from now on it's 1GS on everything. I never want to see OGS ever again.
Okay. I want to talk about the use of the proceeds. So you guys are offering, I think it's about $169 million to the general public, right? And another $169 million for a reserve pool with key partners. And I love that you have, I think about $16 million for 1GS, I guess, staff members and so on, which is good. I always love to see when businesses offer shares to their own staff members because you grow with the company, so it's almost like you're incentivized to help the company as well, and you get rewarded for it, which is great. When you guys list, because I expect good things when you guys list. Let's just say that, right? But my question was, in terms of the use of the proceeds, I know some is going. Do you have any outside of paying off the debt to Barito? Because I know Barito loaned you guys about 270 million.
Yeah, 270 million.
270 million. So I know a vast majority of the proceeds would be used to clear that, to pay off some of that debt, but pay off some of that loan. But in terms of the rest of the money, it's used to grow the business and so on. Is there any particular aspect of the business that you are excited about to grow with now this fresh cash?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question, Theon. So I think I'd point to a couple of things. First, let's start here. The debt is expensive and it compounds over time, right? It's 13%, but it's 8% cash with the 5% capitalized, right? And so every quarter, 5% get added to the balance, to the principal, and then it becomes like a new principal, and then the interest payments increase every quarter, and will continue to increase if we don't pay it off, right? So that's the first thing there, is that it's actually good for the business. Now, second thing is that we use that debt to fund this HV acquisition, right? And the HV acquisition has been transformative, is the word that we like to use. And if you look on our Q4, you'll see our Q4 revenue at 103 million. You see our Q1 revenue at 114 million, right? And that's coming from like 30 and 40 million the year before, right? So that's significant growth through the acquisition. That's primarily driven by the acquisition, right? So when you pay down that debt, the debt service amount for like a year is like $35 million. That goes straight to the bottom line, and we have a dividend policy. So it goes straight to the pockets of the shareholders, essentially, paying down that debt, right? So it makes sense for us to pay down that debt because we are also in a capital light business. Like, the truth is, to grow a digital business, you don't need a whole lot of cash unless you're buying an next company. But what if you want to buy a next company, which we've hinted to that we are intended to do, right? Then what do you need? You need some cash. On our balance sheet, we have $130 million in cash, and near cash, between cash and short-term investments at the end of March, right? So at the end of Q1, we have $130 million in cash. So when you think about our growth prospects, don't think about the fact that we're paying down so much debt, because we have cash already as well. So you take the extra, you put that on top of the cash that we have, and we have $200 million to grow the business now, which is a very different picture from having $80 million to grow the business, essentially, right? And
Very
so
true.
with $200 million to grow the business, we did the HV transaction with less cash in hand than that, right? And so
Wow.
the truth is that we see the opportunity that we are looking at other inorganic opportunities, full stop. And that's disclosed in the prospectus, but our projections don't include that, right? So let's talk about the things that are included, right? So the
Yeah.
first thing is
Shani was like, yeah, let's get back to the point.
So that is included in the prospectus. That's
Drill
the key.
sergeant.
Yeah, it is.
Drill
It is. It
sergeant.
is. It
It's
is in the
included in the
prospectus.
prospectus in the CEO letter. I can give you the page number where I
And
talk
we'll
about
link the
that.
prospectus. We will link the prospectus in the description, guys.
So
And
that's
for the
something I've had to
record,
learn because
full terms and conditions on your own.
so you guys will get to learn. I'm really transparent and open, and so sometimes I have to Chanel reins me in, right? But I've been running by her, and she's just been giving me the thumbs up. You're doing a good job, like not crossing that line. So we don't
Yeah.
tend to cross any lines, right?
And I mean, the shareholders love transparency, so that's
Yes.
really good. That's really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm looking forward to that in terms of how we'll interact with our shareholders over time. That's something that I'm really looking forward to. I mean, I think people who believe in OneJS, like the reality is, in these times, people who invest in a company have to believe in a company, right?
Yeah.
And for us, like I way rather have shareholders that believe in this company than shareholders that looking for something else, for example, right?
Yeah.
And so having shareholders who believe in our company is like something big for us. And so we want to be talking to our shareholders and letting them know like exactly where we're at. Like that's something that sound is on my side, getting rid of that. All right, cool. So that's something that we're looking forward to. The question was, I forget the question now.
Oh, organically growing the business with the use of the proceeds.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we spoke about a couple of things in the prospectus, and one was launching new products and business lines, right? Let me break that down for you. So when we think about our products, we think about the way that we package our services, right? So right now, for somebody to come in and start working with OneJS locally, for example, our custom websites kind of start at $15,000. Typically, they end up like US dollars. Typically, they end up being like 25,000, 35,000 US dollars, right? And so our starting price is prohibitive for some people, right? Even some businesses who just starting to work with a vendor, right? And so one of the things that we're thinking of doing, like a new product that we're thinking of, is a workshop, like a strategy workshop, like a 1-hour strategy workshop, for example. You get in, you come and sit down with 3 members from our team, and we flesh out what's happening in your business and analyze it and give you a recommendation for how you want to go. So it's like a workshop templated with a process to get to an outcome, which is helping you to better understand what you need to do in digital. Then from there, we can give you a proposal, for example. So let's say instead of the first point of entering being $15,000, it now comes down to $1,500 US, right? That's a more approachable number for somebody who hasn't worked with us before, right? And they can get in, they can experience our service, and then from there we can say, all right, now here's how much it would cost for us to do this for you, right? So that's like an example of a potential new product. And so we'd package that and market that and develop the processes around that. So it would include documents, homework that they have to do, things like that they have to bring in. That's what we mean by adding new products. We have several of those in mind when we talk about adding new products, right? So that was one thing that we want to do. The second thing that we talk about is adding new business lines. Now, historically in the prospectus as well, right? You can see how we've added service lines over time, right? You see in 20, we started out with just design and development. Right. We added copywriting and strategy, and you see that progression of expanding our service lines. And that's been a big part of how OneJS has grown our revenue organically over the years, is by adding new service lines. Now, each time we add a service line in the past, before HV SEO, it was like 1 to 3 people per team that we added, right? And so we do it slowly. We see what the demand is, and then we grow that team if needed, right? With HV, we took a different approach. We went with a full-blown acquisition, doubled our team size with the one acquisition. Now, in digital is a big space. And, earlier I was talking about the different things that can happen. There are email marketing agencies that just dedicated to email marketing. So we could add a whole team around that. We could do it organically by just building out an email marketing team to focus on that and push into that globally, or we could do it inorganically by acquiring an email marketing agency, for example, right? That gives us additional capacity. So when we look on building out new business service lines, we might be in something right now at like a 1%. And that might mean going into it into like a 50%. And that would now make that not be now a sub department under some bundle up category like digital, and it becomes its own business line. So practically speaking, that's how we've grown historically, and we still have more room to grow like that in the future. I don't know if that makes sense for you.
No, I understand. I definitely get it.
All right. And then the other part is the business development side. So we talk about investing in human capital. A part of that is, you see the growth in 1GS. I was the sole person selling up until 2 months ago, right? In 1GS, right? So the reality is we didn't have a business development team. Like I was selling, doing all the proposals, being the one to just, I have somebody who will help me with the contracts afterwards because I convinced Chanel to give me a template, right? Never lie. But we have a template and we can get out our contracts. But the reality is now we've put that team in place. Like we didn't have a business development team in place, and so that's something that we've been working through, and that's something that we continue investing into also different markets, because we spoke about expanding into different markets as well. So there are specific markets, specific like Europe, for example. That's a place we want to push in with HV SEO because we have a presence there, we have team there, and we have brand recognition there, we have existing clients there, but we don't have a salesperson on Europe time zone. So our US salesperson have to be operating on that, and that's a nightmare to coordinate. And they're also not going out and like actively generating leads and actively going after customers there. We're just taking the customers that come to us, which is great that we have a brand that attracts customers. But no, we're going to strategically go out there and approach customers. Because even at 1GS, we don't approach customers any at all. Like we take work that come to us. We've grown historically, word of mouth, recommendation, and organic. Just like you'd have seen, the last week is the most visible that we've been. Like that's not going to change. We intend to continue investing in that, and we've already seen the impact of that already, just in terms of the number of leads that we're generating per week right now. Right?
Yeah, 100%. Even listing, the whole process of listing itself is almost like the spin-off effect is like the marketing effect. A lot of people just know of 1GS now. So if that was your original way of getting like corporate clients and so on, now I expect to see a lot more. And then now you say you're building out a business dev team, right? To also get corporate clients. So I mean, sounds great. Yeah. Sounds amazing to me, and I'm not a shareholder yet, so.
So that's kind of our approach to it, and so that's the stuff that we're talking about there. And so, I forgot to say this: the real base for everything is just the base is just the incorporation of HV for the full 12 months, because as I was saying, our 2022 results only include HV for 3.5 months, right? And the results were 103 top line. 114 top line. So let's see what 2023 looks like when you have HV for the full year. That's like the foundation for the growth, and then you add those other things that I was talking about on top of that, essentially.
Yeah, I'm excited. Definitely very excited. And then you get the income, the corporate income tax break.
Then you get the tax break. Then you say bye bye to the debt payments as well. And then if you look on that, that's like $50 million a quarter right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, precisely. I'm very, very excited. Very, very excited. I even saw under your corporate structure, right? I know a lot of people have seen this other company that is dormant right now, right? And the name, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. If it's Snappy or Snappy.
It's Snappy. Right?
It's Snappy, right? And it's hinting at something that I guess a lot of people have seen, but as the prospectus says, it is a dormant company, right? Is there anything you can tell us about Snappy by chance? Janil, you didn't even give him a chance.
Oh boy.
I mean, you can try Googling. The truth is, there's a landing page out there somewhere, right? But it was something that we were working on back in the day. It's not something that we're actively working on right now, because the truth is that we've doubled down on our core business, which is the agency business. Like we've come to a realization that we run a good agency. We've been able to run a profitable agency, and we know how to run an agency, right? And so we're doubling down on the agency business, and that was a big part of even the move with high voltage SEO. It was about our coming to terms, and I say coming to terms because the dream for every person who has capacity to develop things and market is to run a SaaS company, right? That's the dream, because SaaS is the dream, right? It's like the pinnacle of what you can do as somebody who builds stuff, you know. And the reality is that we kind of came to a realization through our exploration of inorganic opportunities available to OneGS that we have 20 years experience running an agency. Why move away from your core when your core has served you well? Double down on it. And that's the strategy that we're taking right now. I'm not going to say we won't do it ever, right? But right now, our focus is doubling down on our core, which is being the best digital agency that we can be.
And just for the record, I didn't say no because they're hiding anything. OneGS is a fully transparent company. The reason is that SnapPay is really more of a future type of plans. And as you guys know, we have a forward-looking statement disclaimer in the prospectus. We don't have that on this video, so we have to ensure that what Givein is saying about the company and the future is he's able to share it at the time the company becomes listed, not right now. We don't want somebody to come and say he induced anyone based on this forward-looking statement kind of thing. So again, SnapPay is there, and I guess as the quarters progress, Givein and the board will decide what the company, the group, will do with that company. And at that time, the shareholders will be updated.
Okay.
I actually found the website you're talking about, so I'll share that in the description, guys.
Trouble.
Right below the subscription and the like button. Limitless exclusive.
It's something that we didn't release at the time. Like we were working on it. It's not on the front burner for us. It's like we're really focused on the agency side, and we've seen great results on that side as well. You know, and so that's something that we're looking forward to growing the agency, to pushing into SEO, and to work and to execute on the plans that we've laid out in the prospectus. Like that's something that I'm actually really looking forward to, like being done with the listing, right? Getting to that other side and just being like, all right, back to growing the business full time. And I say that because like the truth is, going through an acquisition process, it takes attention. Going through the listing process, it also takes attention. And I'm sure it's going to take attention to keep running a publicly listed company. But at the same time, I feel like we will be over a major hurdle, I guess. And it would be a little bit more, I'm hoping that I have a little bit more time, because I have a lot of passion that I want to put into the growing of this business. And we have a team that can help as well. But I still have a lot of desire to be involved in growing this business.
And so it's funny
we can see that.
It's funny that Jermaine went there about, of course, having the time post listing. But as I always remind him, when you listed, the work really also just started, because as a listed company, you have all these obligations. You have filing obligations with the financials, timely disclosures on basically anything the company is doing, giving your quarterly updates to the shareholders, responding to shareholder queries. You're going to be moving from a company that has 19 shareholders to thousands of shareholders, ensuring that you're
we're gonna have to have some good people to manage that, because guess who's not doing that?
So it never, and Jermaine definitely knows it. It's not that we list and then we just put the pen down when it comes to dealing with all of the, as people call it, the legalese and the legal requirements. No, that has to run concurrently with operating business. Both of them have to boat on the same ship, as I tell people. You can't have one ship over there and a boat over there and expect them to be going on the same route. Same ship. If one's sinking, everything else is sinking. So, yeah.
Wow. And we've seen that recently. So that is very true. That's very true. So, yeah. I guess Preston knows what I'm talking about.
And I love the build out of the services too, because the thing is, if you guys have a customer that you've been with for a few years, and say you didn't offer some of these services before, they used to have to go to a competitor And now you guys now offer that service. They're already paying you this money. You can just offer them a package where you can say, okay, just do this with us now. You've already trusted our brand. We already have your data. We know about you. And is it like you're gonna just build out more and more services and stuff? So yeah.
And I mean, it helps to be in an industry that's ever changing, right? Because that means that you always have to keep doing new things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know,
But there
a
are
couple of
also
years
new
ago,
opportunities
and
to
there's
grow,
also
as you
new
said.
opportunities. So that's a big part of it. And I know this is something that we're discussing, is that as technology changes, like a lot of people look at it and say, man, you know, how you managing a business like that, because, you know, technology changed so fast. You remember, guys, I started building websites in 98. The technology that we used in 98 don't exist
I
anymore,
was
right?
just born.
Yeah.
It don't exist anymore though. So like none of that technology exists anymore, but we're still building websites. So you have to keep learning, right? And that's why you see a whole page on in the prospectus dedicated to learning, because learning has to be central to what we do at OneJS. And it's a big part of, you know, on the team, we rather hire somebody who's passionate about learning, who don't know everything right now, than somebody who know it all and who have gaps, right? Like that to me is like I'd rather have the person who's green and anxious to learn, because I know I bust that person on some training material, and that person is going to throw themselves into it, and they're going to be 10 times better next week than they were last week, right? And so like that ability to learn is something that we love. I'm a big learner. Shaniel can tell you I learn about all different sorts of things, right?
Yeah, everything related
And
to OneJS or not.
and so even when it comes to the legal side, I've learned stuff about legal. That's why we talk about, you know, the implications, the legal implications of AI and stuff like that. So I don't know if you want to get into the AI stuff right now.
No, that was literally what I was going to talk about, because you said new technologies and so on. I actually wanted to. So, I've done some research on AI, especially with SEO, and I've seen that it has even taken some jobs of people within that SEO space. Because let's say, for instance, I can pull up ChatGPT, have it understand like Limitless Podcast, and be like, "Yo, just create SEO keywords to help boost this episode or whatnot." I'm not sure how it actually goes, but AI can do a lot of those different things. So, how do you see AI changing the landscape, especially in SEO or just overall in the digital market?
Yeah, I think for me, we start with what it is. And at the end of the day, AI is a tool, right? So we have an objective, and the objective is to get more traffic for our clients. And there are different tools to do that, right? So at high voltage, we've been using AI in a lot of the stuff that we do. We have tools that help us to optimize our pages from ever since. You know, the founders at high voltage, they have a tool that they've built that does that, right? And that's a cornerstone of what HV uses. So HV has always been leveraging technology, and OneJS has always been leveraging technology as well. You know, I started using Copy AI a long time ago to help me write my personal stuff that I've been doing. I use Grammarly's built-in plugin in my Chrome, right? So when I type an email,
Yeah.
Grammarly is right there. If I'm typing even in WhatsApp web, Grammarly is right there, like correcting it. And I have my tone set up. You know, I want to be friendly. I want to be casual. It's like, oh, this sounds too stuffy, so you have to make it more casual. So,
Yeah.
so the reality is that we don't see technology as a threat. We see technology as a tool. And as technology evolves, we're committed to learning how to incorporate it into what we do. So if there's something that can make us more efficient, we're all about efficiency. We're all about margins. At the end of the day, if we can get more margins out of things, then that's great for us. I think one thing that is super important to realize is that AI is changing and it's not regulated yet, right? And and leading a business, like, it's very different when we have a team of 55 and we're going to be a publicly listed company than if we're a one man with nothing to lose. Like if I had no kids, for example, right? Now I have four, right? We have to make different decisions. Let me give you an example. Crypto come out, hottest thing, everything blockchain hot. Everybody wants a blockchain developer. OneJS pivots. Oh, we're not doing what we used to do. We're just going to do blockchain right now. Drop everything else. Where is OneJS today?
Truly. That crypto space is highly regulated now, so or
And
becoming
And
Highly
it's slowed down a
regulated.
lot of things. A lot of the crypto projects have folded. They haven't been able to find profitable paths, and things start to the hype is no longer there, right? As the regulation has caught up. With AI, I think we're at a point where we're seeing a lot of interesting use cases, right? We see a lot of interesting use cases. We see Chat GPT. We see you can plug in stuff in there, and I think over time regulation is going to catch up, because there are lots of battles unfolding in court right now about Chat GPT, for example, and what's allowed and what's not allowed. It actually got blocked in Italy recently, right? So in like earlier this year, like March, I think it was blocked in Italy. I'm not sure if they've lifted that block, but it was blocked because they were violating the data protection stuff, essentially, right? And so over time, like, I think regulation will catch up with some of this generative AI, and we're going to have to face some tough questions. Like, for example, can you learn from my content without my permission?
Okay.
Because it's crawling the internet, you know, and it's
Right.
learning from content that exists.
Yes.
So it's learning from content that belongs to somebody without permission. Just 2 weeks ago, we had a couple sites go down, and it was late night one night, and I get my notification, and I'm just like, what's happening? I messaged Robert, the head of our, who you were thinking is Light,
It's like,
head of our web department. It's like 11:30. I'm like, hey, these sites are down. He said, all right, let me look into it. Half an hour later, I get a response. He was like, yo, the server that they were on was under a little load pressure, and it wasn't also scaling fast enough. ChatGPT was crawling all the sites all at once, and it spiked the RAM usage. Like, strange. Like, so what did we do? We blocked ChatGPT, right? Because we don't want it using up our resources like that. If they can't crawl our sites responsibly, we're going to block it, because there's no benefit for us for our content being included in ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is pointing in a reference right now. At least Bing in their generative searches are putting a reference there, and so it's barred, I think, right? So at least then they're crediting the creators. But what happens? So that's one thing that's unfolding right now. Shaniel, I don't know if you want to jump in.
I would love Shaniel to jump in. Yeah, I'd love your thoughts as well.
Chat GPT crawling, because recently, probably a couple months back, there was a case in the US where an attorney relied on Chat GPT to prepare submissions, and went to court with submissions relying on a case that Chat GPT said was a case. Well, lo and behold, the case that Chat GPT said was a case was not a case. And so again, Chat GPT being responsible and things like that is definitely something that when the regulation catches up, we'll have to, if it ever catches up, I must say, we'll have to put in place how things that are, you know, gathered using AI are dealt with. Again, can AI or the software that operates AI be own anything? So when it comes to intellectual property and things like that, when they create something new from crawling on different content from other people who are the owners, is it really a new thing, or is it a modification of the original? And should the person who has a right to use it be the original owners or the creators of ChatGPT or any other AI software out there? So it's really crossing all the different thresholds, like data protection and intellectual property rights, and whether or not you have the permission or the consent to use information that, well, I don't want to say confidential, because the fact that it's out there on the internet, maybe it wasn't confidential in the first place because it's not in the public domain. But there are lots of areas in law that are generally gray without AI, and now that AI has entered the chat, it's even murkier than before. I know that today,
even before you go back to that point, I remember seeing images. So you're talking about generative AI images being generated maybe from Midjourney or so on. This was early when AI just started getting hot.